Hey guys, it's Pineapple, and we're going to be talking about the My Hero Academia movie. There's all sorts of new stuff. Shout out to Audrey on Twitter. I'm going to make sure to link her Twitter in the description so you can just check that out instead of watching the video if that's what you'd rather do. But I'm going to be going through a lot of this, a lot of the movie stuff that recently dropped last night, like the trailer and all sorts of the summaries, and it's a lot of stuff. And I haven't even really watched the full trailer, so this is going to be kind of a reaction also. So hope you're into that. Let's hit the intro, and let's get into all of it after it. So hit it! You just watched me. Isn't that awkward that you just watched me hit the intro? I feel like that's weird. Is the intro even playing? All right. So we have, I hope the intro's over. We have, because I'm not looking, we have these tweets, a lot of them, last night by Audrey. And I like how I clicked through and none of them really showed, but we are going to go through each of them individually. This one, probably not the first one I should start with. It should be this one. Last night, we got a huge information dump on the My Hero Academia 2 movie. Now, we already have My Hero Academia, The Two Heroes, which is the first movie. I always thought that it was going to be really confusing for people because the word 2 is in the first movie title. So, like, you know, it's always going to be weird, but whatever. We have a lot of information, and pretty much the big thing that we should talk about first, and I have this image saved. This is the image from the website, which is, it serves as the poster. Remember that the big theme of the movie is Deku and Bakugo working together kind of in the shadow of All Might. Like, All Might's not around anymore. So, without really spoiling, because I'm going to explain it in a second, what the theme of the movie is definitely that these two are going to have to step up in a big way, right? So here we see, and shout out once again to Audrey for, I believe, translating this summary. I believe it's hers, and, you know. The story takes place on a cold winter's night where the snow continues to fall. Shigaraki Tomura plans to destroy all hero society as the leader of the League of Villains. Prior to this, as a battle between heroes unfolds, without anyone else knowing, something quietly wakes up and leaves the area. During that time, Deku and the other students of UA Academy Class 1 are told by their retired #1 hero, All Might, that they will be a part of a project to raise the next generation of heroes. They're sent to do hero work for a short time at a warm island south of Japan. Deku and the others are stationed within the island to work as heroes to help out with the daily lives of the citizens in the island. And while their schedule is busy, they have time to relax as well. However, that calm is soon disturbed as villains suddenly make their appearance at the island. One by one, they begin destroying the facilities around the island, and the one who commands them goes by the name Nine. That night, Deku awakens something there. I read that wrong. I read that line and the line under it together, sort of. That night, something awakens there. Deku, Bakugo, and the rest of the Class A members will need to combine their strength to overcome the villain Nine. Why does Nine want to attack this island after all? Can Deku and the other Class A new heroes protect the citizens of this island from the villain Nine? So that is pretty much the summary of what's going to be happening in the movie, and there's a lot to draw from this. This is pretty much my first time reading this whole thing also, so there are some things that stand out to me. I like reading things for the first time or seeing things for the first time as much as possible, close to when I'm going to be recording or talking about them, because it helps me. I think my mind goes 1,000 miles a minute, right, when I first see something, and there's just so many different angles and lanes that I like to attack it from and that I might forget later. So the first thing that stands out to me, let's just go line by line, right? It starts in the winter. So it starting in the winter lets me know that it's starting after the events of My Hero Academia Season 4. That becomes apparent, obviously, when you see Deku's new, he has the gloves that he'll have in Season 5. He has those in the trailer already. So this is definitely happening during the winter season. And this is either happening right before the Class 1A versus Class 1B student stuff, or it's happening even maybe after that. And that's actually something that's incredibly relevant now that I think about it, because if this is happening after the Class 1A and Class 1B stuff, Deku has access to Black Whip. And if you need to know what Black Whip is, go on my channel, search through my playlist series about Deku unlocking a new quirk. And that's pretty much what that's all about. But yeah, Deku might have access to that in this movie, now that I'm thinking about it. Because right now, what's going on with Deku off screen? As far as we know that as the villains arc is happening right now, Deku and Bakugo are supposedly training under All Might to work out how they're you know, how they're using Black Whip, or just how Deku is going to train up his Quirk to be a little more efficient in his fighting style. Because fighting Bakugo and, you know, kind of adjusting to his movements would really help him fight other people, because Bakugo has great movements. He can pretty much get around a lot of people's defenses. But at the same time, this movie could very well be taking place right now during this League of Villains arc to a certain degree, right? Because we're seeing other things that kind of line up with that and kind of don't line up with that, but I feel like at the end of the day it all does tie together. So the next line says that Shigaraki Tomura plans to destroy all of Hero Society as the leader of the League of Villains. Now this tells me, this is odd to me, because the first My Hero movie was very much a detached story. And it sounds like to a certain degree this movie is going to be, but this is odd to me because the very first My Hero Academia movie was set on this island where it was pretty much the Tony Stark Expo was happening from the Iron Man movies, and All Might and Deku were sent out there to, you know, hang out with David Shield, which is All Might's friend, and maybe accept some awards or whatever. And it was a very detached story, pretty much. I had some complaints about how the rules of the setting were basically that no one was allowed to leave the island. If they were like working on science there. So it made it so like, oh, so I guess Melissa Shield can't come to the States. That sucks. Or like to UA. That sucks. Or David Shield's probably never going to leave. That sucks. It's just like, even though the movie's canon, it seems like they kind of wrote a way for them to keep it off to the side if they wanted to, which I guess is smart, but whatever. I digress. This movie, we see right in the second line of the summary that Shigaraki is going to be in it. And I feel like this is just, those first two lines are just setting, or these first couple lines are just setting the tone of where we are and what time frame we're in the movie. Now, my little theory that I am building towards, well, I'm just going to explain it now to a certain degree, is that Nines, let's go over to this. Where is it? Nines, and this is a shot from the trailer, which we will watch, and I'll probably end up spending most of the time breaking that down. This is probably going to be a very long video. I'm sorry. This is Nines from the back. Now, you see that? Look at this. We've been discussing what this panel might be, whether this might be the secret, you know, final high-end Nomu that the Doctor's working on. But if you, like Audrey points out here, if you look at these two, or these four things on his back, on this character's back at least, look at that. It's exactly the same. These are turned a little more, you know what I mean? They're turned maybe in different directions. I don't know if that's something that is relevant, but this is definitely, this is what I believe at least. I think this has something to do with the League of Villains. And maybe it's just an independent thing, right? Like maybe I'm just completely off, and I have no clue what's going on in this panel because the hair looks so much longer. Maybe this head wrap is covering how long this guy's hair is, or that's not a head wrap and that's just the hair and it just looks like cloth for some reason in the animation. That probably is a ponytail, but yeah, sorry, that's my notifications. Where are we? Where is it? I lost the panel. Okay. But yeah, a little weird to me. It seems like the hair is definitely longer here, don't you think? No, that's the bottom of the neck. Okay, I'm realizing now. That's the mask around the hair. Yeah, so it's not as long as I thought. Okay, yeah, this lines up pretty much perfectly when you look at the actual perspective. So we've already seen Nines kind of set up, or Nine, I believe it's Nines, set up in the manga. And that's really interesting because I believe that he might have something to actually do with the League of Villains. Let's go back to the summary. I think that he might be some sort of background villain of the League of Villains, or he might just be another underground villain of some sort that is aware of their workings. Because I think that because of the events that are going on right now in the manga with the League of Villains arc, let me have some water actually because my voice is getting a little scraggly. Sorry. I believe that right now in the League of Villains arc, all this stuff going on isn't going to be completely going unnoticed. And one thing that I've noticed, one thing that I find interesting, to me, and let's go to the trailer a little bit for this. To me, this guy, sorry, this is the villain Nines right here. This guy, I don't know why, maybe it's just because of his sketch. I don't know what it is. He kind of gives me a Destro vibe from the Liberation Army. Maybe it would be really, really cool if this guy is actually like a Quirk Liberation Army member or something kind of tied to that. You know what I mean? And now I don't know if they would do that because that's a little spoilery, but at the same time, like, you know, it's a movie. Do what you want. It's a canon movie. You gotta go for it. But I suppose we should watch some of this trailer before I go off more on the summary, because there are some things that I'm sure it would be nice to see. So again, shout out to Audrey, because this is subtitled by her. I don't know what I would have done if I didn't have a subtitle version. I would have just ended up looking at a raw version and assuming what they said, and it would have been bad. All right, so here we have Nines looking over the city, the ultimate evil villain. So here we're seeing him. He has these kind of balls of energy that he holds at the ends of his fingers. And he kind of plays with them a little bit. That sounded lewd. I didn't mean for that to sound lewd. I'm sorry. Nine. I'm calling him Nines. Nine. So we see we're the only ones. This is awesome. This is awesome. All right, wait. I don't want to get copyright. So we're here because we stand and move forward. We're the only ones. Ugh, you're next. All right, so what this is, and the vibe that you get from this trailer, right, is that Nines is pulling up, right? Nines is pulling up. That doesn't look like an island to me. Maybe it is, right? Because we know that this movie is taking place on an island. This looks like he pulls up out of modern day society, and maybe this is just early in the movie where we first see him and he's introduced and we're like, oh, who's this guy looming over Japan? But Nine pulls up, and he has his finger beams. Now, Audrey has an idea for what these might be, and what his quirk might be. I'm not sure what it's founded on, but it is an interesting idea. I don't quite want to get... Sorry, let me call... Sorry, it's early in the morning. I don't quite want to get too deep into speculating what Nine's quirk is yet, or Nine... Well, yeah, that was actually correct that time. Nine's quirk is yet, because... You know, it could be anything. These could be key blasts. I doubt it's going to be something that it's that simple. Her idea is basically that these balls might be thrown into a person for him to have complete control over them, and that's really interesting. And that the liquid on his back maybe being a fuel source of some kind for these balls is a really interesting idea. So we're gonna see what it ends up being. That is actually a really good idea for what it could be, because like it's a really interesting use. It's a really interesting idea that there's just a dude in a suit, like all the other My Hero villains are dudes in suits. It's just a dude in a suit walking around. He's the master manipulator, and the heroes have to deal with that. And also, if the other Class 1A heroes are here, because we are here because we have to do it. We're the only ones that can help. What situation is it that Class 1A is the only ones that are the only ones that can be helpful, right? Like, I wonder like how much there is to this Nine thing, right? Like, this is just wild speculation, but I wonder how much there is to this Nine thing, as far as like Deku being the ninth wielder of One for All, there being 9 pro heroes that are in the top 10 right now in the anime, at least, because All Might's out. They haven't redone the top 10 heroes, so right now in the story there's 9 available heroes for this guy, if he's a manipulator and can maybe control stuff to maybe manipulate. I don't know. I'm going all over the place with it, because we really don't know what's going to be going on in these movies plot wise until it happens. I remember the first movie, I'm not going to spoil it, but there was a twist in the theaters that a character, you know, might have done some scummy stuff, and everyone gasped in my theater when we saw that, and it was a little bit of a shock. I kind of saw it coming, but it was a little bit of a shock. I was like, oh, okay. Good reasons, whatever. But this here is the important bit. This here is it's everything. Like, whatever. We'll see Class 1A fight together. And that's something that I think we've all been dying to see. That the students actually working together to fight a villain. If that happens, or it's just a group of villains, just group battles with Class 1A all together, like the Avengers, we need to see that. That needs to happen, all right? But the real thing we need to see here is the inheritance of All Might's will. And when All Might was pointing, it wasn't just to Deku. You know what I mean? When All Might was pointing, and even if it was just to Deku, Deku's not the only one that saw that and took the message like the way that Deku did. we see very much that Deku and Bakugo are the two characters that are standing there in the wake of what happens to All Might in Season 3, and even in the manga, just standing there, and it's focused on the both of them. And it's very much because I think that both Deku and Bakugo are going to be the two inheritors of One for All. Not literally One for All, but the two inheritors of All Might's will. That's what I meant to say. The true inheritors of All Might's will, the true inheritors of the future. I think Inheritors of the Future is literally a Naruto movie title. And here it says inherit the will, and the will is in quotes. So, you know, they're kind of, Audrey believes that they're kind of playing on the fact that maybe Deku will pass over One for All in this movie for a brief period so Bakugo can do something crazy, or they can team up like their team up and do like a special move or something. Because keep in mind, Horikoshi said that he planned to do something in this fight that he was planning on saving for the final fight, pretty much, or the final climax of the series. And I feel like one of the most awesome things that could be like a team attack between Deku and Bakugo would easily be if Deku passed over One for All, and while he still had the energy, because, you know, One for All left All Might he still had the time to be in his muscle form and do amazing things and do the United States of Smash. So if for Deku to pass over One for All to Bakugo and have Bakugo do like a ridiculous explosion that like super projected Deku with a ridiculous smash into the person and just like obliterated them. Like, there's so many cool opportunities for these two to work together and get stuff done. They could easily be like a really cool team of heroes, but you know, that maybe that's some stuff that we'll see it in the final chapter of the series. But at the very least, we will see it in this movie. We see the two working together. Oh, look at them right there. Look at them. To win and save, and to save and win. These are their two mottos. Deku wants to save people, but he wants to win because he wants to be somebody that saves people all the time. And people know that, like, oh, if Deku's here, cool. You know what I mean? Like, if Deku's here, he's going to win and I'm going to be safe. But Bakugo, yeah, I'm going to save you. Sure. Like, I'm going to save you and I'm going to make sure that you're safe, but I'm here to body. I'm here to win. Right? And what's interesting about this here, I wonder, let me go back a little bit. I wonder if Deku's gloves are completely safe. I wonder why they both have these patches, and we even notice it here. I wonder why they both have these patches on the opposite sides of their face. You can't really see it all that well with Bakugo here, but why do they have these patches on their face? Did they just get... There's going to be a lot of parallels in this movie, I can see. Because did they both just get injured? They look a little roughed up. Deku is sweating. He has a little, like a mark on his forehead. Bakugo looks like he's been hit in the face. One of his grenade arm gauntlets might be broken. So, you know, these two, and we know what's going on here to a certain degree. It looks like they're defending some location. That's interesting, because in the summary it says that something on the island awakens and they have to stop Nines. So it sounds like Nines is going to this island, there's something slumbering under there or whatever, and these two catch wind of it and realize what's going on and they have to stop them. And if that's the movie, and very much the summary suggests that that's what it is. If that's the movie, if the movie is Deku and Bakugo go on an adventure and be detectives and work together as pro heroes pretty much because they both have their licenses now and take on a villain and save a town while 1A also helps save a town and they like stop a major villain, that's going to be really awesome, especially because like we've seen in the first movie, you know, the final fight in this movie is going to have some ridiculous animation. If this is the final location, which it very well could be, because this is a very plain background, you know, just grass field, stone background. This looks like a really easy place to have a giant battle with Yutaka Nakamura, giant cube, all sorts of wildness in the animation. This looks like the sort of place where they could definitely do that. So maybe this will just be an early fight in the movie. Or this could also be something that's happening at the end of the movie. But we see here that Deku has his new gloves. Bakugo is not in his winter outfit with the big collar, but that's because, again, they're on the island. But, you know, I think those... I don't remember if he has black sleeves, usually. I don't really keep track with Bakugo's outfit. Deku's outfit changes so much that it's usually his that I keep track with. But this is the trailer for My Hero Academia, the movie, Heroes Rising. And that's coming soon. What do we have? All right, so here we also have information coming from Audrey saying that Dengeki Online's article about BNHA Heroes Rising movie adds a few plot points. We learned that Deku teams up with Bakugo to save an island of citizens. Ochako, Ida, Todoroki, and other members of Class A are going to play active roles in the movie too, and like I said, I'm thinking that it's going to be Deku and Bakugo going around being detectives and trying to figure out what's going on between whatever's awakening under the town and what's going on with Nines. But Nines is definitely not going to be going at this completely alone. If he is, it's extremely ridiculous. And I would love to see that also. But they're probably going to be using the other members of 1A sort of in a lot of ways like a hero agency of sorts, right? Like all the different members of Class 1A that are going to be on the scene are going to be like different members and different like heroes in a hero agency that I'm sure is going to be headed by All Might. All Might probably is going to be involved in some way, even though he's not going to be able to power up. But mainly with Deku and Bakugo at the front of the operation, because I have to believe that they're on the poster, they're on the cover, they're making this big deal about the two of them. They're going to have to be the ones that are going to take Nine down ultimately at the end of the movie. Villain Nine has an extremely dangerous quirk, and his goal is unclear. Now, this also goes into what Audrey was saying about him possibly having a quirk that might let him manipulate people, because that is an extremely dangerous quirk. Having something like maybe those little balls, like I said, are just ki blasts that he can throw and they're really destructive, you know what I mean? But that's a little boring and plain, and that's really dangerous, but it's just like, you know, cool, whatever. All it takes is for All Might to smack them out the way and fly and punch you in the face. That's not that dangerous. Having a quirk that literally lets you manipulate the hearts of people and change their and all that sorts of stuff, or mind control them, or do whatever, having something a little more vague like that, or just having something that just kills people, or I don't, maybe not that last one, but I don't know, having something a little more vague, or a little more, I like the vague quirks. I like the quirks that are like, it's a principle of something, right? Like cold. My quirk is cold. That's what I have. I control cold. So I can't turn water to ice, but if I can make it cold, or if I can get something cold in it, I can turn it to ice. That's really cool. I like vague stuff like that. So hopefully Nines has a really complicated, vague quirk that is well explained and well understood after it's well explained, so that there's no ridiculous stuff going on. But we're going to see what's going on between Deku being the 9th user, one for all, Nine, and what his real name might be, whether he has anything to do with the Quirk Liberation Army, whether he has anything to do with the villains, whether he has anything to do with maybe the hero's side. We have no idea where this guy is coming from, or why we recently saw him in the manga. But, you know, those are just questions that I'm sure are going to be answered as we get closer to the movie, and as, well, obviously when the movie comes out. Now, what's interesting to me, another thing that I want to point out from the summary, a couple other things, is that it says here that during that time, Deku and all the other students of UA Academy Class 1A are told by the retired #1 hero All Might that they will be part of a project to raise the next generation of heroes. It sounds very, very similar to what we just saw in the My Hero Academia team up mission manga, where it's a new spin-off series basically based around the heroes working with other pro heroes to go on missions and patrols and get used to hanging out with other heroes and working with other heroes and kind of being aware of what their quirks are like and stuff like that. And that like really sounds like what we're seeing here. I mean, it sounds like All Might is telling them, maybe it's just a different program, because, you know, it is a school, so of course the school is going to be running all sorts of different programs for the heroes. But I wonder if Team Up Mission is somehow like a lead-in, or somehow like affiliated with the My Hero Academia movie. Like if one of the missions that we're going to be seeing are the missions that the students are going to be going on the island during the movie, or if it's going to be partially like Deku and Bakugo, or, you know, what's going to be going on. I have no clue. But I'm interested. I believe the next chapter is coming out very soon, today, tomorrow, or something. I'm going to be covering that. I have a really busy weekend IRL this week. On Saturday and Friday night, I believe. But I'm trying to get a lot of stuff done earlier in the week. Another thing that I think we should cover here before we go, let me see if there's anything else. I don't think so. This here is an interesting little tidbit. There are 2 statues that are being advertised for the movie. And I would think that the statues would be like, you know, probably Bakugo and Deku, whatever, right? But like Audrey points out here, one of the statues says Villain Deku. Now, that could mean that it's a statue of Deku fighting the villain, right? weirdly enough, a 11 centimeter statue of Deku fighting nines, maybe, right? That seems a little weird. And versus hero, whatever, right? This is probably just literally, I don't know. I have no clue. But I would think that this would just probably be the poster, right? Like Deku and Bakugo, or Deku and Bakugo during a certain scene. And I would think this would probably be Deku and Bakugo, or just Deku, because I'm assuming Deku and Bakugo are going to be on a lot of the merchandising and a lot of the figures together and stuff like that, because they're both battling this hero together, or this villain together. Look at me, he has me confused. But villain Deku is very interesting, because if Horikoshi plays with the idea of Deku being brainwashed or Deku being taken control of, it definitely plays a little into that, like, all for one controlling Deku kind of territory, where it's not literally that, right? But it's something like that. It's an interesting thing to play with, to think that maybe at some point in the movie, if Nines does have this, like, and keep in mind, that's, I believe, just speculation from Audrey, or an idea that she had based off of, just looking at stuff like this, like villain Deku and little other things. If that does end up being the case, then we might end up seeing Bakugo and Deku fight each other in this movie. And that's something that might go on that is it's not even really being teased. It's something that we wouldn't know about if it wasn't for this possible accident of this villain Deku. Like, what if Nine, right? The name cohesion of him being Nine and Deku being the ninth user of One for All is that Nine somehow is able to take control of Deku and make him, his pawn, and have him fight against Bakugo. And the only person I believe that's taking Deku down in that situation, besides maybe some pro heroes, I mean, probably a lot of the pro heroes maybe, is Bakugo. Bakugo knows how he fights. Bakugo, they train together. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's interesting. What if that's like the final battle of the movie, or the second to last battle of the movie? I can't wait to see the last 20 to 30 minutes of this movie. I think it's going to be really spectacular. But that is everything we have to talk about the My Hero Academia movie. Once again, I'm going to read the summary of the movie so that stays with you as we close this video out. But yeah, let's do that. So the story takes place on a cold winter's night where the snow continues to fall. Shigaraki Tomura plans to destroy all of Hero Society as the leader of the League of Villains. Prior to this, as a battle between heroes unfolds, without anyone else knowing, something quietly wakes up and leaves the area. During that time, Deku and the other students of UA Academy Class 1 are told by their retired #1 hero, All Might, that they will be part of a project to raise the next generation of heroes. They're sent to do hero work for a short time at a warm island south of Japan. Deku and the other heroes are stationed within the island to work as heroes to help out with the daily lives of the citizens on the island, and while their schedule is busy, they have time to relax as well. However, that calm is soon disturbed as villains suddenly make their appearance at the island. One by one, they begin destroying the facilities around the island, and the one who commands them goes by the name Nine. That times... I keep messing up on this part! I'm shocked, I'm going back. That night, something awakens there. Deku and Bakugo and the rest of Class A members will need to combine their strength to overcome the villain Nine. Why does Nine want to attack this island after all? Can Deku and the other Class A new heroes protect the citizens of this island from the villain Nine? And that last part is just, I guess, the final thing that I want to stick on, because every member of Class 1A at this point in this movie in the timeline has their provisional license. They're able to work as heroes. So that little line right there, the Class 1A new heroes, that means that all the members of Class 1A that are here on the field are very much going to be responding to threats like pro heroes would in the streets. Just like at the beginning of the series when we saw pro heroes going and reacting to the sludge monster grabbing Bakugo. I mean, they really didn't do much, but you know what I mean? Like arriving on the scene and just pulling up when stuff happens. We're very much possibly going to be seeing the 1A students doing that, because now they're all capable of splitting into their groups and going off to different areas and fighting, because they have the license to use their quirks in the field against villains. And that's going to be another thing that's really cool to see. I feel like a lot of this video was stuck on talking about Bakugo and Deku because that's the center theme of this movie. But definitely do expect to see some cool scenes from the other 1A students. I know Horikoshi, that definitely has to be part of his input to a certain degree, because I'm sure he wants us to see the students doing cool things, and he wants us for the students to have more shine, especially since the other students didn't really have as much shine in the last movie. So that is my breakdown. How long was that? That was 30 minutes almost. That was my breakdown of the information dump and the trailer and all the stuff that recently came out about My Hero Academia, the Heroes Rising movie. I almost called it the Two Heroes. It's confusing for me. But that is my breakdown. I'm going to be working on a thumbnail for probably like 20 minutes, and I'll be back and I'll upload this. And I think spoilers are coming out today. I think there's a couple more things coming out that I have to talk about over the next few days. I'm halfway-ish done editing my Kimetsu no Yaiba lightning style video, but that's, you know, it's taking a little bit because I have some IRL stuff going on, but nothing bad, really good stuff. I'm in, you know, in a really good mood. It's early in the morning and I haven't taken a sip of water in a few minutes. So I'll see you guys later. This is Pineapple. Peace.